Hello Year 7, this is Miss Bartley speaking, and today I'm going to talk you through our first Romans lesson, and we are going to be looking at how did a city grow into an empire. Now we've just done our 5 questions together as a class, so now we will move on to the rest of our lesson. So our learning outcomes today, we are going to complete an inference question using this source here. Now inference just means another word for what we can learn from this source. So you're going to be having to have a look at this source real closely and deciding the reasons or the various different pace that the Roman Empire grew at. Okay, and this is our question here. What can you infer or learn about the growth of the Roman Empire? But we will look at that a little bit later on. Okay, so either on a piece of paper or on your Word document, either is fine, I want you to make some notes and have a think about the following questions. What do you think an empire is? Can you put the word empire into a sentence? And how do you think an empire might be achieved? So how does somebody create an empire in the first place? So if you want to pause the video here for about 3 or 4 minutes and have a really good think about those 3 questions, and then we'll have a bit of a think about it. Okay? Okay, so what is an empire? An empire just means that it is a group of countries that are controlled by one country. Okay, so that's all it essentially means. So, for example, you might have heard that Britain used to be an empire quite a long time ago. It was only a couple of decades ago that Britain stopped being an empire. So, in a sentence, you could say that Britain used to be an empire, which formed the British Empire, and in countries such as India, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, they were part of the British Empire. And how do you think an empire might be achieved? Well, that's what we're going to have a look at next. What the sort of different reasons people might have for wanting to create an empire in the first place. So, if you wanted to take over a number of countries to create your empire, what would your reasons be? So again, if you just want to note down what sort of reasons you might want to have an empire, you can pause the video here for about a minute and just write about 5 or so reasons. Okay. So, we're going to just look in a little bit deeper now what the main reasons were for the Romans that wanted to build an empire, because our whole new topic that we're looking at is the Roman Empire. So here are a couple of images that I want you to decode about what the main reasons were. So it looks like we have a map of Italy there. We've got some soldiers. You can see some other images. And there's our last image. So see if you can try and decode what those images there. I've given you some hints already. So if you want to pause the video here and just spend about 30 seconds to a minute trying to decide what they are, please. Okay, so let's go through these reasons. So the first one being is that the Romans wanted to conquer Italy, and that's going to form the basis of their empire. Because at the time, Italy was divided up into almost little kingdoms or regions, if you like. So Italy wasn't a united country at this point, it was all divided up. So you had your regions or kingdoms like Venice, Milan, Pisa, Florence, and Rome. Rome was its own separate little region. Then we've got military expansion, so they wanted to expand their army, increase the number of soldiers that they had, and have them placed all over their empire. To build good Roman roads, so one of the reasons that we're going to be looking at in a little bit more detail is the Roman roads. They wanted to have a huge network of roads that the Romans could travel on, and you would always find that the Roman roads would always lead them back to the city of Rome. The next one, they wanted Roman power, and then lastly, they wanted good trade routes around Rome. So trade routes is just another word for travelling and bringing goods to another city and bringing other goods back into Rome, and just making sure that they had a huge good supply of different produce and goods. Okay, so for your main task today then please, if you go into assignment and find these two documents, they are going to be your main resources. Now, what I would like you to do is to look at these sources here, and I would like you on your table to add in any evidence that suggests that these reasons that we've just discussed allowed Rome to create their empire from a city. Okay, so I want you to add in any evidence, so bullet points is absolutely fine, into each of these boxes, and then I want you to explain how this would have helped the Romans gain an empire. And I would expect you to spend about 10 minutes or 15 minutes on these worksheets, please. And then for your extension task, if you manage to finish that, I would like you to have a think about which do you think was the most important reason why the Romans wanted an empire. So which of those reasons, conquering Italy, military expansion, building the Roman roads, the emperor's power or Romans' power, which one of those was the most important reason that was going to help the Romans create an empire? Okay, so if you want to pause the video here for about 10 to 15 minutes and complete those worksheets for me, please. Okay, so moving on, what I would like you to have a think about is to make some notes on the following questions. So, number one, what do you think the strongest reason was for the Romans to expand their empire? Number two, what might be the problems of conquering too many countries at once? So conquering just means taking over too many countries. And number three, how do you think people from other countries would have felt about the Romans spreading their influence, so their Roman ideas, their Roman culture, on the countries that they had conquered? So if you could pause the video here, spend about 5 minutes making some notes down on your piece of paper and having a really good think about explaining your reasonings behind those 3 questions, please. So now that you've completed those resources and those questions, what you should be able to do now is to collect all your ideas together and apply it to our fit task for today. So at the start of the lesson, I said that you were going to be having a look at an inference question. And again, inference just means learn. So what can you learn about the Roman Empire? And what you're doing is you're using your knowledge that you have gained from this lesson and the different reasons why the Romans wanted to expand their empire. So if we have a look at this source just a little bit carefully, okay, we can see all the various countries that are coloured in as to what the Romans took over at this point to create their empire. And you can see here that they're all colour-coded in terms of the years that they were taken over by. Okay, so it starts off in 264 BC. Now, they'd only conquered Italy at this point. Remember I said that the different cities made up their own little regions, and Italy wasn't a united country at this point yet. So in 264 BC, they'd only conquered Italy. But then fast forward a couple of years later, into 133 BC, we have got that the Romans have conquered Greece, little part of Asia here. It was all different names back then. Okay, so technically this would be considered as part of Turkey. You've got Carthage here, Spain, and a few other countries that are now part of Europe. And then in 44 BC, so coming towards the end of this BC era, the Romans have conquered a couple of other countries. So this would be roughly round in the Middle East, this area here. Again, we've got a little part of Turkey and a little part of Africa here too. And then we've also got this country here, Gaul. Now we know it as France. So Gaul was just another name for France. And you can see here with these colours that the Romans have taken quite a large part of Europe, and they've taken a large part of Asia or the Middle East at this point. And then lastly, by 284, they've expanded their empire even further, where they have taken Britain, they've taken some other countries further into Europe as well, some more parts of Spain, some more parts of the African continent, and they've moved further into the Middle East as well. Okay, so that's what the colour coding means, and that's just showing you how much the Romans had taken in the space of around about 400 years. So, with your writing frame then, I want you to use this writing frame very carefully, please. So you're starting off with your sentence by saying, in the source, I can see. So tell me what you can see in this source. The details in the source show that I can learn. So this is where I want you to try and infer what can you learn from this colour coding system. What can you learn from this map as well? Where did the Romans conquer? How did the Romans expand their empire? And then I want you to back this up with your knowledge. So this is all the knowledge that you've used in the previous tasks that I've set you today. Okay, and then I want you to repeat your structure again. So I want 2 nice paragraphs from you, please, Year 7. So I will give you about 10 minutes to complete this fit task for me, and you can do that on Microsoft Forms, as I've set up a little forms quiz for you to do, and that way it might just be a little bit easier for me to see your answers, and then I can mark it straight away and then feed that back to you. Okay, so once you have done that, complete the forms quiz, which has been sent to your assignments on Teams, and in case you can't find the assignment or the quiz on assignments, I've placed the link here, which you can click on, and that will take you directly to it as well. So, like I said, you can complete your fit task question on Forms 2 as well as the other quiz. Okay. Now, if you've got any questions about this lesson at all, please feel free to drop me a comment in our Teams post and I will answer your questions. Or if you want to email me using your student email address, I will also answer your questions on that too. Okay, good luck with this Year 7 and I hope you enjoy your lesson. Thank you very much and I will speak to you very soon. Bye bye.